Hello gamers, it's Wintermute here from Grind This Game, continuing on with the tutorial series. So in this episode I wanted to talk about growing sleet wheat and turning it into delicious food for our duplicants. Now sleet wheat's one of the kind of better foods and has kind of the best return on investment that I've found. That's not to say the other ones aren't good. They're good in their own sense, but sleet wheat seems to be kind of the best bang for the buck, and it's pretty simple as well. So every time you harvest a sleet wheat, you get various sleet wheat grains depending on the yield. So if you look here under sleet wheat, you can get a standard yield, 25 sleet wheat grain, a good yield, or an excellent yield. So 25 sleet wheat grains are essentially the seeds as well as potential food. So you always want to make sure that you have enough sleet wheat grain left over after your harvest so that you can plant kind of the next crop. And you can turn the sleet wheat grain into food using the cooking station. So under food, cooking station, I'll build one of these up in the base. So probably put it right here. It doesn't require much power. So yeah, it only takes 60 watts to run the one cooking station, which is pretty small. So what we want to queue up here in terms of recipes is this frost bun, and it uses sleet wheat grain. It uses 3 of them to produce each frost bun. It's not the highest quality food. There's some other nicer ones like pepper bread is +1, stuffed berries +2, but frost bun is kind of the staple that I feed my whole base with. So it's the simplest, easiest, just turns grains directly into the frost bun. So we'll just set that up as continuous. And actually I already have enough food, so I'm going to disable it right now, but normally I'd have that on continuous. Like if I fall below 30,000 calories, I'll kind of queue it back up. And I also have under jobs, I keep one dupe, Nails, who's got the highest cooking skill, 12. I only allow him to do massage to keep his mood or stress down, and cooking, and that way he just stays on the cooking station full time. He's idle right now actually because that's all he has set to him, but when the recipe's enabled, he'll just be here cooking away full time. Now you definitely want to make sure that your sleet wheat grain doesn't fall too low. So I got 1100 right now. If I just let him go wild in this cooking station, he would use up all the sleet wheat grain and turn it into food. And then I wouldn't have any grains left to go and replant in my crop here. So it's a bit of a balancing act. Over time, because these produce at least 30 seeds, 25 grain at the worst harvest, over time your seeds should just continue to grow and grow and grow. Like you'll have more and more grains as long as you're not cooking them faster than you're growing them. And in here I usually try to find a cold biome that's really close to my base. This one happened to be really close, and this is where I grow my sleet wheat. And I use regular, under food I use farm tiles. Now there is a way to use hydroponic tiles to get perfect yields, but I don't bother with it. And it's a little bit tricky to feed water in here because it's freezing in here. Like the plant requires, for perfect yield, it requires -40 to -35. In here it's like -10 right now. The bare minimum it needs is -55 to 5, so just to grow at all. Minimum air pressure is 150, optimal is 750, and there's a couple of ways to kind of get air pressure going in here. You can either use an algae deoxidizer, which will pressurize the room. I kind of prefer it because then it's oxygen rich in here and then the dupes can spend more time in here. What I was doing in my last base was I was pumping my excess carbon dioxide in here to pressurize it, which was working. It served the requirement of a high pressure room, but the dupes didn't like coming in here because they couldn't breathe. They had to hold their breath while they were in here. So yeah, I use regular farm tile. I don't bother with the water under here, 20 kilograms per cycle. It's kind of difficult to feed in water without heating up the room. Like you could have water and heat it, have it at 1 degree and have it come in, but it would slowly heat up the room and you'd have to deal with cooling the room. And I just go with the basic, keep it cool, keep it fertilized, keep the air pressure, and I get decent yield out of it. So I've already made some farm tiles, but I'll just make another one here. I usually make them out of clay because clay is in excess and dirt's kind of a finite resource. And I usually set my farm tiles to priority 9. That's kind of up to you, but when the food's ready I want it harvested right away. So once I have it set to priority 9, I just kind of copy the settings of one tile and paste it on the other tiles. And I'll expand this room probably a little bit to the right here, and I'll continue probably left. And you can kind of grow a pretty giant farm in here of sleet wheat. Eventually I might have to cool this room down. It might warm up slowly as I carve out all this ice, and I'll show you in another video how to kind of keep this room cool. One simple way is just to plant weezeworts throughout this room. Another way is to kind of pump water through a radiator system that gets cooled by weezeworts, and I'll show that in a different video. Now, one thing to note about sleet wheat is it requires a lot of fertilizer, 4,000 grams per cycle. So before you start building up this farm in any kind of size, you're going to want 1 or more fertilizer makers. So you want to build these first. I have 4 going right now, and this should keep up with the fertilizer demand. You can see I'm really low on fertilizer right now, but I think it will be somewhat balanced. If we start to run out of fertilizer, I'll make more of these makers here. I have a different video that shows how to set up these fertilizer makers up. There's another recipe you can use sleet wheat grains in, and that's pepper bread. And you'll need 5 sleet wheat grains, and you'll need 1 pinch of pepper nut. And this is kind of higher quality food. Now some people, they say just build a room kind of either inside your base or really close to your base, and then cool it down using weezeworts or whatever. I don't want to spend all the time like setting up a cold room when I can just use a room that's already cold. I'm kind of lazy like that. I guess if there was no ice biome close to the base, then that would be the way to go. But there's usually one kind of really close. There's one here, there's one here. They don't have to run very far to kind of harvest this. It's like almost directly beside their bedrooms. So if you want all things neat and tidy and you like building cold rooms, then go for it. But this is much faster to get set up. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover about like how to build a sleet wheat farm and how to cook it up into frost buns. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want future alerts on videos. And as always, thanks for watching.